Hello everyone. Today we'll be solving question number 2 of IIT JAM 2020. So let's get started with the question. So in the question we are given a function which is 2x cube minus 9x square plus 7, and we are asked about the whether f is about the one-oneness of the function. So the first option is f is 1 1 in the interval minus 1 to 1. Second one is f is 1 1 in the interval 2 to 4. Then third one is f is not 1 1 in the interval minus 4 to 0, and the last one is f is not 1 1 in the interval 0 to 4. Okay, so let's just first try to understand the derivative of the function. So we have f of x equals to 2x cube minus 9x square plus 7. So derivative is 6x square minus 18x. So let's first try to draw the sign scheme of this function, the derivative of the function. So we set this equals to 0. We will have x square minus 3x equals to 0, which implies that x equals to 0, x equals to 3. So we have 0 here, 3 here. Now this is the sign of f prime x. So let's take a point here. So if we take just say minus 1 here, then we can check that at derivative at minus 1 is 6 minus 1, so 24. So then that is positive. 24 is positive, so this is plus. Then from 0 to 3, let's take 1. So f prime 1 is equals to 6 minus 18, which is minus 12, which is negative. So and then we can take some point here. So let's say we take 10, and we can check that f prime is positive. Okay, so what it says, so what we get is f prime x is increasing in the interval minus infinity to 0, and it is decreasing in the interval 0 to 3, and it is increasing from 3 to infinity. Right, now let's just try to draw the graph of f tentatively. So what we have is, so our f of x is x, so f of x is 2x cube minus 9x square plus 7. So once we, so at so as x tends to infinity, minus infinity, we see that f of x also tends to minus infinity. So the graph somewhere starts from here. Okay, and then since so we check at the point 0 and 3. So f of 0 is 7, and f of 3 is 2 times 3 cube minus 9 times 3 square plus 7, which is 54 minus 81 plus 7 minus 20. Okay, so let's put the points. So one is 0 comma 7, so which is here, and 0 comma 7, and the other one is at 3 we have minus 20. That means, so let's call this was 3, so this is minus 3 comma 20, plus 3 comma minus 20. So what happens is, from as we go from minus infinity to 0, f prime x increases from minus infinity to, so minus infinity to 0 it increases, and it goes till this point. So the graph will be somewhere like so it's, let me redraw it again, something like this. Now from 0 to 3 function decreases, right? So that means it decreases till this point. Okay, and then from 3 to infinity it increases, right? So this is more or less the graph of the function. Okay, now let's try to answer whether it's 1 1 in some of the intervals. Okay, so the intervals we are concerned is minus, so let's consider the minus 4 to 0 first. So minus 4 to 0 meaning, so this is somewhere minus 4 to 0. It might be here as well, but nevertheless it will be somewhere in either case. From minus 4 to 0, it is somewhere like this range, and we see that it is just strictly increasing, right? So it is 1 1, because if we just draw parallel lines, along with respect to parallel lines to the x-axis, it will cut the curve at one point, exact one point, right? That means it is 1 1, right? Because it is cutting at a 1 point, so it is 1 1. So minus 4 to 0, it is 1 1, but the option says that f is not 1 1, so this is false. Okay, now let's see 2 to 4 interval. Okay, so 2 is somewhere here and 4 is somewhere here. So actually we need to check the point whether 2 is uh, uh, like left of this or here, but that is not much of importance to us, because if we just restrict ourselves to 2 to 4 in this interval, what we see that, so the curve will be something like this. And so at the so if we consider this particular parallel line, so what happens is, this is one something, say these 2 points, so let's call this x1 x2. So what we have is f of x1 is f of x2, right? Because if the height is same, right? The height is same, that means f of x1 is f of x2, and x1 is not equal to x2, right? Because they are different points, and also they are inside these, all these x1 and x2, they're inside 2 to 4, right? That means f is not 1 1, correct? So these two are the points which gives us that f is not 1 1. So from 2 to 4, f is not 1 1. Okay, so then we have, so this option is also false. Now minus 1 to 1, let's check. So let me redraw the graph again. So this is 0 7 3 comma minus 20. So yeah, this is not exactly to scale, but now if we consider minus 1 to 1, we can just consider this parallel line, say something like this. Now if you just draw it here and here, so x3, say x4, so what we observe is f of x3 is f of x4, but yet x3 is not equal to x4, and they lie inside minus 1 to 1, right? So that means f is not 1 1 from minus 1 to 1. This shows that our option 1 is also false, and all we need to check is 0 to 4, right? F is not 1 1, so let's just check that. So from 0 to 4, if we consider, this is our 0 and 4 is somewhere around here. So what we can do is, we can consider this parallel line, something like this, and if we consider these 2 points, okay, so what happens is, this is x1, let's suppose this is x1 prime and x2 prime. If we take, then we check that f of x1 prime is f of x2 prime, right? Because the height is same, yet yeah, our x1 prime and x2 prime, they belong to 0 to 4, because both of them are greater than 0, and then this is less than 4. Note that this thing, this particular straight line, the parallel straight line we're taking with the parallel to the x-axis, it should be very close to this point of minima. Okay, so just to make sure that this x2 is less than 4. Okay, so if you take something around like this, it might happen that it can cross 4, so that will be wrong. So we need to be less than 4, that's why we need to take the point pretty close to the minima point. Okay, so similar to this here also, so while we choose x3 and x4, it should be very close to the local maxima point, so that it lies inside minus 1 to 1. Okay, so in this way we see that x1 prime and x2 prime, these 2 points have the same image, but they are not equal, so that shows that from 0 to 4 it is not 1 1, right? That means this option is correct, right? So option D is